What happens when an organization that claims to respect free will in reality expects you to follow a strict script, word for word, step by step? In the September 2025 Watchtower article titled "Call the Elders," we find yet another example of this old strategy, disguising control in spiritual language. At first glance, the message seems simple and friendly. If you are going through spiritual difficulties, talk to the elders. But if you read carefully with just a bit of common sense, you see there is far more behind this advice than an innocent recommendation. What is really being promoted here is a mix of emotional pressure, hidden surveillance, and a push for complete dependence on the organization structure. The article claims that if you are spiritually sick, you should seek help. But not just any help, not from a trusted friend, not from your family, and certainly not from a trained mental health professional. No, the only acceptable solution is to talk to the congregation elders. They are presented as Jehovah's gift to you. But make no mistake, this so-called gift comes with a manual directly connected to the central office in Warwick. Everything works like a spiritual call center. You only get through if you're on their approved line. Your own faith? It's never enough if it isn't filtered through the elder's supervision. No matter how much you pray, cry, or reflect, it doesn't really count unless you report to them what you did wrong. Your conscience, according to this article, is always under suspicion until proven otherwise. And the only way to prove your innocence or your repentance is through a spiritual interview with these men in the congregation. One of the most disturbing points in the article is how it encourages mutual surveillance. It's not enough to confess your own mistakes. You also have the responsibility to report the mistakes of others. If you know that a brother has committed a serious sin and hasn't told the elders, what should you do? You must turn him in. If you don't, then you are also sinning. Yes, you heard that right. Omission is viewed as spiritual complicity. In this system, silence is not a sign of respect. It's disloyalty. It becomes a kind of game where nobody wants to lose, so everyone keeps an eye on each other, ready to say, "Elder, I saw Brother John looking at a woman twice." All of this is sugar-coated with gentle words, Bible verses, and pretty metaphors. But the underlying logic is crystal clear. Don't trust your brothers. Trust the structure. After all, keeping the congregation clean is presented as far more important than preserving friendships or respecting a person's private conscience. The Watchtower article paints elders as compassionate men who will listen carefully, give biblical counsel, and even pray with you. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? But the reality is that these men have absolutely no professional training to deal with depression, anxiety, trauma, addiction, or grief. Yet they are placed in the role of absolute spiritual counselors, the only legitimate bridge between you and Jehovah, as if only through them you could have access to forgiveness or so-called spiritual healing. There's a dangerous problem here. Serious, complex problems are reduced to matters of spiritual weakness, handled with 3 verses, a prayer, and perhaps a veiled threat of a judicial committee if you don't get better quickly. The Bible is turned into a thermometer, and the elders act as spiritual nurses with judicial authority. This article encourages members to live in a permanent state of suspicion about themselves. If you no longer feel the same enthusiasm for preaching, if you'd rather watch a TV series than read the Bible, if you no longer attend meetings with the same shining eyes, then something is wrong with you. It isn't just tiredness, discouragement, or a change of life season. It's a sign of spiritual sickness. And spiritual sickness, according to the organization's logic, demands immediate confession and control. Suddenly, your free time becomes a source of guilt. Your silence is suspicious. Your sadness is proof that you have spiritually failed. And the cure? Go to the elders. Always the elders. This idea is everywhere. If you're not enthusiastic, you're weak. If you stay silent, you're guilty. If you think too much, you're rebellious. And all of this is presented as Jehovah's love. The official conclusion of the article is crystal clear. The elders are a gift from Jehovah. But what kind of gift is this? Really? A gift that listens to you, evaluates you, and, if necessary, cuts you off from your congregation, your friends, even your family? A gift that demands mandatory confession, total loyalty, and still makes you feel guilty if you don't go seek help. With so much control, it's fair to ask, even if only silently, whether this spiritual model is really built on compassion and love, or if it is instead a highly effective method of keeping everyone in line, watched, and silent. What do you think? Is this truly Jehovah's love, or just another form of spiritual manipulation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters. And remember, you deserve a spirituality that frees you, not one that chains you to fear.